We're back again with our discussion about the Cosby alleged rape case. Joining us again is the president of the Philadelphia Association of Black Journalists, Cherri Gregg, and radio talk show host and author of The Dead Man's Wife, Solomon Jones. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we were talking earlier about just how it's so hard to even know at this point what's been going on, and really how it's been affecting Bill Cosby's image and what's been going on. You were talking about how I think NBC was developing a show with him to star it, and they've sort of ceased it temporarily, and you were mentioning something else.
Yes, the reruns of the Cosby Show are no longer on air. And pretty much now, anytime you mention the Cosby Show or Bill Cosby, you have to mention the allegations that exist. And so it's just a part of his legacy now, unfortunately.
Right, and it is unfortunate. Now, Cherri, you were talking about a quote that Bill Cosby mentioned about black journalists, and what was it? And
well, he had said that...
We have a quote up, so...
Yeah, and he had said that black media had the duty to look at this issue with a neutral mind. And you know, as a black journalist, it becomes a story when there are more than 24 allegations of sexual assault, some including rape, against an icon like Bill Cosby, and you have to cover it. A neutral mind, I think, is simply fairness. You give both sides an opportunity to comment, and if Mr. Cosby doesn't have a comment, then you have to print that and remind your readers, your listeners, your viewers that he has not been convicted of any crime, and that's pretty much as neutral or as objective as you can be, and just remind people that these are allegations. You have to be very strong about that.
And I think that's really important because everybody wants to put him under the bus already and convict him in some way. And there are lots of mixed feelings and emotions in the American community, black, white, whatever. What do you think, why do you think he's not coming forth and he's keeping quiet about it? Is that in his favor?
I think that's a legal strategy, and I mean, I think Cherri can speak to that.
That's right, you have a background
as
in
a
law.
lawyer, but I think that is a legal strategy. Why would you speak, why would you say anything when you know that anything that you say can be held against you? You know, unless somebody comes forward with some physical evidence, and that's not outside the realm of possibility. Somebody could have something with some DNA on it. Somebody could have, you know, something from, 45 years ago. You know, some of these allegations go back that far. So we don't know, and as long as he doesn't say anything, then nothing he says can be used against him. But I think that there's an even bigger thing with this story that I think speaks to the way that the media operates now, is the social media aspect. You'll remember that after the Hannibal Buress video came out, Bill Cosby's team put up something on Twitter and said, "Meme me," right? Which is a picture where you put a caption on the picture to say what this picture represents. And people put up all kinds of things referring to rape and sexual assault. I'm sure that's not what he wanted, but that's what happened. And that made this an even bigger story. And so the way that social media behaves now really, it affects the way that regular media behaves.
And what is a story? I mean, when everybody is talking about something and everybody is retweeting and commenting, that in and of itself, I mean, we cover what people do or what people care about. So you almost have an obligation to put some truth in it, as much truth as you can get from a particular situation. And in this case, unfortunately, there's no hard facts that we can point to except the allegations that exist.
Now, you were saying, Solomon, that there may actually be some DNA. You have a background in law. Is that possible at this point that we may uncover something like that? Or, I mean,
I guess you could say anything's possible.
Anything's possible.
Whether or not that would be questioned or believable is another. I mean, if he says something now, then you could open the door for all kinds of civil suits. You might not have a criminal suit, but they could manufacture something. There's a lot of legal maneuvers that still exist. So I think Solomon is correct in saying that there is a legal strategy to him just being quiet. And I would probably advise him to do that.
And I think it's wise. Now you're talking about social media. What are the responses? What are the views of people coming forth? Have they all prosecuted him in their minds, or is there or is there again, he's the American dad, he's been the hero for us, for so many of us, for so long?
I think social media is an interesting place. It's a place where people can kind of be whoever they want to be without necessarily revealing who they really are. We see it in comment section on stories. I certainly see it all the time. We see it on Twitter. We see it on Facebook, where people can say all kinds of things under these assumed names and assumed identities. And with the Bill Cosby thing, you know, I wrote about it and I said basically what I said here, that look, there's no criminal conviction. Many of us in Philadelphia know Bill Cosby or have been in contact with Bill Cosby or talked with Bill Cosby. I've talked with Bill Cosby. And, you know, when you say, well, wait a minute, let's pump the brakes for a minute and not convict him, social media responds with a very visceral and very vicious reaction, because people feel like, you know, because these women said these things, that they're true. Now, certainly where there's smoke, there's fire. But again, he hasn't been convicted, but you can't tell that by social media.
And we don't know. Will there ever be another Bill Cosby, Cherri?
There'll probably never be another Bill Cosby, but I think there could be another America's Dad, which Bill Cosby represents. And I think that there have been other stars who represented the dad figure who have had allegations against them as well. But I think who he represented for that time, one of the first African American dads to be positive, and you know, I think that that image will definitely be missed.
I agree. Thank you so much, Cherri and Solomon, for being here.
Thank you.
My pleasure. You've heard about what the experts have to say about the alleged Cosby rape case, but what are some of the repercussions of such a horrible act? Next, we'll talk about the aftermath of sexual assault with therapist and the award-winning author of The Year After, Ashley Warner.